It's the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do.
It is.
There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing,
Exactly.
Deeble.
Riddle me that,
Yeah,
Nats.
riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to
This is True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast, back in the home studio today to review the incredible win against the Dons, the upcoming game against Saints or Euroke, and everything else about our Swannies girls. I am joined, as always, by the man who got home less than 24 hours ago. It's Alex Donnelly. Alex, how's it going?
I was leaving the SCG this time 24 hours ago, so I wasn't even near the airport. The dash sort of halfway through the last quarter, missing Harry Carl's goal kind of made me sad. But yeah, the airport delay was a bit brutal at 8:30 last night. But hey, we made it. It was well worth it, and I'm so glad I was at the SCG yesterday.
Yeah, it was definitely the kind of day where you just sort of had to be there. It was very historic. I think it's a day that we're going to talk about for many, many, many years to come. I'm very glad that we were all there together, apart from Mads. Sorry, Mads, we would have loved to have seen you. We understand that not everyone can get up. It is what it is. But we, at some point, ran into pretty much everyone we know, and it was just a really, really beautiful day. And I think a day that we couldn't really have asked for more from.
Yeah, it was very weird, and like obviously we're not going to hide from what's going on in the last week, and sort of when we all bumped into each other. Like the funny thing is, I caught a different flight. I was on a Qantas flight at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and Deebs, Flanners, Ally, and a few others were on, I think, either Jetstar or Virgin, and we all got off the same train at Central Station, and we're all just sort of like there in the Swans gear, and we're like, oh, how's this sort of going to go out? Like Flanners had felt like it had about 35 coffees. He was that on edge for the day ahead. And just sort of, I was there mainly, obviously, for the women's game. I was always coming up for this game. As soon as it was announced it was a doubleheader, I was in. I can go up and back. It worked perfectly for me. But then after what happened last week, and we were at Surrey Hills at, geez, I don't know, this is probably about 10 o'clock, 10:30, having breakfast.
Yeah.
And we're seeing people in red and white walking past us. And obviously living in Melbourne here, it's been at the forefront of everything that's going on this week. And every little rumor, every little article, radio segment, everything you've been across. And it's been hard, obviously, as a Swans fan. And just to sort of, a couple of people walk past and were like, yeah, up the Swannies. And, that sort of, there was a sense of sort of community around this game. And I think by the end of the week, saying a narrative flipped is the wrong words to use, but I think the groundswell of support is around the women's program, especially, which the game had been completely forgotten about. Let's be honest, the game had been completely forgotten about probably Thursday, apart from obviously your diehards.
Yeah,
and then there was just this groundswell of support, like, get to the W game, and if people walk out, that's fine. That's their prerogative. I will not hold any ill will against anyone who decided to walk out after the W game. Like Molly Thomas's family, I'm pretty sure all walked out after the game because they had to go celebrate with her because she made her debut. But just to be there, and I know at the bounce when they threw the ball up at 12:32, there was over 7,000 people in the SCG, and that swelled to 16,600 and something. To be a part of that, and the noise when they ran out, to the noise when the final siren rang, and the song was as loud as like I've heard the SCG, and it was only a third full. It was a special day. It's a very weird day, but it was a good day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, I have obviously as a Sydney-based Swans fan, I have been to the SCG an uncountable amount of times. I would say probably 10 plus times for the last 20 years. So that's, 300-ish times. And that was one of the most community-focused experiences I've had. And it was just everyone wanted to be there for the right reasons. And it's been a while since I've experienced that at the SCG, because as much as I don't love to feed into the narrative, there is a stereotype about Swans fans, and not anyone that's actually listening to this podcast by any means, but there is a stereotype out there. And I can wholeheartedly attest to the fact that, it's true a lot of the times, but yesterday was not one of those cases. It was truly the diehards there, and it was really a special experience. And I think that kind of leads into both of our headlines, but do we want to start with yours? I'll pull it up on screen.
Oh, yes.
that's
Look at
fine.
this. This is great. We have added quality to this. And just side note, shout out to the person who messaged either Mads and Deebs or Paul saying, Alex, get a new microphone. It was literally the first thing I said on Monday morning to Paul. I was like, I'm buying a microphone this week. So,
and I'm pretty sure you were like mid buying it when the message came through as well.
I was honestly on my way out to go to JB Hi-Fi to buy said microphone. And I was just like, yes, I know. So hopefully it's coming through clear. If it's not, I'm going to sue JB Hi-Fi. But yeah, so my headline, a big day after a heavy week. It was a shit week to be a Swans fan. Let's be honest. That's notwithstanding everything that's gone on. Obviously, we condemn the actions of what happened this past Monday here in Melbourne, and that has no part in society, let alone football. But to then have 6 days of just nonstop rumors, scaremongering, delete the club. There was still an AFLW program that had come off like a really historic win. And I felt so bad during the week for this team because they've just knocked off Adelaide in Adelaide. It's, the midfield's half fit and no one's talking about that in a 14-minute press conference with Colin and Lucy on Friday afternoon or Thursday, whenever it was. There was one football question asked. And again, I'm in media. I understand why only one football question was asked. And shout out to the very tall, the very handsome, the very good Lockie McCurdy, because he has been a shining knight throughout this week. Like he'll never tell us who he supports, but we all know who he supports. And his reporting this week has been factual.
Not the Giants?
Has been factual, has been very considered, and has always also been thinking about, this team, the AFLW team as well, because it was, as I said, a heavy week, and we finally got to the result. And half time we're probably like, oh, this isn't going great. And then we, the talent of this team shone through, and a big day. We got to celebrate. It could have been an even bigger day, as a couple of players sort of put it to me after the game, but we got the results, and that's all that mattered. And watching the replay today, to see the emotion pouring out of some of the women's players after the game, which is something I don't think anyone's really picked up on, was something to behold, and to be there for that. It was a shout out to, if anyone listens to the Hardball Gets, to Ryan Daniels, a truly special moment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, you were always going to be there, and I know a lot of people couldn't get up, and that's totally fine. But I think it is a moment where most diehard W fans were upset not being there. Even our good friend Kelly Underwood shed some tears in the box. So that's how momentous it was, and that's how special it was. And I guess that kind of leads me to mine, which is more not so focused on the negatives, more sort of leaning towards the positives of it all. 66 points, but 16,672 is the real score. So that was the final attendance at the game. Halfway through the fourth quarter is when they stopped taking attendance. But you can tell from the coverage, which I rewatched today, it was 14,000 at halftime, which is more than the Carlton St Kilda doubleheader had at halftime, which shows that this isn't just people that also rocked up towards the end to get in there before the men started. These were 16,000 people that were there just to watch the girls in a stadium, to put on a show. The 2,000 that weren't there for the first half probably got the better show than the ones of us that were there from the start.
Yeah.
But it is just so fantastic to see. I really didn't think I would see a number this big for quite so many years. And the fact we've gotten to it in this year is really, really special. And I think for context as well, this is important. 16,000 is more than any GWS men's game this year, not including our game against them. I think that just shows how much support these girls have, and how this is going to build into a very, very special year for them.
Yeah, and we've got games obviously coming up, not at stadiums, but we've obviously got big games at Henson Park. We have Pride, we have the Derby. We've got away games here in Melbourne against the Dogs. We go to Windy Hill to play Collingwood. We will absolutely outnumber the Collingwood fans there. So there's a big chance this year for our fans to really sort of show up and show out. And I know, like, we've got a massive Perth supporter base, so I would love it to see. I think it's Coburn when we play Freo in the last round, which feels like, the way this season already looks after 2 rounds, it's going to be a really big, important game. I would love to see, 2,000 or 3,000 Swans fans show up for that game. But it was so good to see. And the thing was, it wasn't just people turning up for the sake of turning up, just sort of like tokenism to say that they were there and then they left for the men's game. This was, we'll just say it's 14,000 at halftime. But this is 14,000 people that were into the game. I apologize for the people that were sitting around us because I was very much into it, obviously. For the couple of sprays, a couple of umpires and a couple of Essendon players got throughout the game.
We won't say who.
that's my disdain for Essendon. And, they have a game plan. They set up a certain way, and I didn't agree with a couple of decisions and a couple of ways their players were going about it, but that's just me.
Especially in the first half, especially the first quarter in particular.
Oh yeah, that was one of my good ones. That one. If you were around me, shout out. You heard. And I will say I swore once because there was children around us. I just said bullshit on one call, and I remember there were small children around us who were booing Essendon. So I think they've
they turned to Grandpa. That family sits behind me at every game, and they turn to Grandpa. So also, okay, I guess for context as well. AD was sitting with me in my seats that I've sat out for the last 15 years, and they're in my spot in bay 314 up in the Trumper. But then we also had the Saundos, we had Georgie with us for a half, we had Bailey show up during the game as well. So it was a really big group of people. And Sean, can't forget Sean. Sorry, Sean. He was at the other end of the aisle. So
Sean and I were nerding out the whole game. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then we had like So a big family sits behind me. They've sat behind me for years, and then a family sits in front of me as well. And so we were all sort of riding the game together. And at one point, the granddaughter turned to Pops and was like, "Am I allowed to boo us?" And we both turned around and said, "Yes." And he was like, "I've tried so hard to not get them to boo." And I was like, "Okay, don't boo. Just say go Swans when you want to boo Essendon."
And I was like, "But it's Essendon. You can boo Essendon. Like, it's fine. It's totally fine." Anyway, that was me behaving, but it was people were into the game, and then watching it back today, and that was the thing that came through. And I listened to Meg McDonald's AFLW podcast she does on 3AW this morning, where she was talking about, because she was one of the co-coms on the game with Kelly and Ellie Blackburn. And she was like, she's like, "I'm so glad how loud it was at the ground came through the TV mics, because this was a bunch of Swans fans into this game." And she was like, if they all she's like, "I love that." And this is also what I agree with. I love that everyone was in their seats and it wasn't everyone's in the O'Reilly on the other side to make it good for TV. Everyone was in their seats. But because of the way they've built the stadium, since they've built the new stands, it does create a cauldron-esque atmosphere. And it was loud. Like the boos were louder than some of the cheers at certain points. But this was a day that I think, after everything that's gone on, we can look back, and we'll get into sort of, we've got our stock risings, stock fallings to get into, that we can look back and be like, this was a big day. We broke the Essendon hoodoo. We're 2-0, and Ally Morphett's got another 10 votes in the Coaches Association.
Yeah. So, couple things to key off that. I found that it was the first time I had been at a W game where, one, it felt like everyone was watching, and two, everyone was cheering as aggressively as I am often. And this doesn't bother me too much, but I will be at Henson Park and I will be one of 5 people actually cheering and watching the game. And usually it's me and Saundo and Joshy Maxwell that are the ones cheering.
It's definitely Saundo.
And so the fact that everyone was riding it together made it feel extra special. And look, I think there's a big thing to say here, that we need to be playing more at stadiums, because I do think the actual stadium atmosphere is part of the reason that has happened. Obviously, everything else that's happened this week, I think, has led to this number. And I think if we can really, that's probably the biggest takeaway for me, apart from how we played, is let's just keep this momentum going, keep showing up for the girls. I know it's still a couple of weeks till we're back at home again, but like that's the biggest thing to, you know, keep this season on track. But yeah, we broke in 2 weeks, we've broken 2 hoodoo curses. That's massive. Like, not to be super superstitious. I'm quite superstitious. I know you are too. But the fact we've beat 2 teams that we've never beaten before, and whenever we play Essendon, there's some rubbish thing that happens. In the first season, it was that goal that was disallowed to cost us our first ever win at Icon Park. In the next time we played them, it was the Wednesday after we'd played on the Friday after the men had lost the grand final on the Saturday.
Oh, that sucks.
And I love it to death, but Lucy McAvoy ran the ball back in the wrong way and cost us a fine.
We were giving her some very loud encouragement when we saw it happening.
Yeah. And then last year was the absolute dogfight at Coffs Harder. And so the fact we had a good, solid game and we put our heart and soul out there and we played to the back of our footy cards, there's curses being broken. There's momentum shifting. Yeah,
there is. And it was just sort of everything once it sort of clicked. Like at the start of the game, you could see how Essendon was setting up. And it's exactly how they wanted it to be. It was a little inside contest. And if they could just get the rolling maul of consistent, ball ups and stoppages going, that's what they wanted. But we started getting on top of clearance. And you look at the sort of the ending stats of how this game ended up. Like it was across the board a win for the Swans in everything. Like Ally Morpett was getting first hands to the ball. We dominated clearances throughout the day. We dominated hit-outs, and that's sort of what led to us getting on top eventually. And I suppose that probably does lead us straight into our stocks falling, and I can't believe because thankfully we can actually see them now. We probably should actually keep them hidden from each other just in case.
Well, I was worried we'd say the same ones. So
that's why I've always got backups. This is why I've got backups. So like I had backups if you didn't have them. So like my first stock falling, I'm going to roll with it, and I can't believe she only got 1 vote in the coaches' votes this week. It's Laura Gardiner. The game was on the line. At the start of the last quarter, the game was probably still a little bit, in fuego. We were only in front by 11 points. In the first 10 minutes of that last quarter, Laura Gardiner had 11 disposals and kicked a goal. Game was on the line. Best player on the field arguably stood up, threw us over the line. And by the time that 10-minute burst was over, the game was done. We were up by 3 or 4 goals. She was just she still looks a little bit sore and half fit. I was watching her on the replay today, and you're watching her and Mon and a few others. She's still not fully fit. And the fact that we're winning these games and we've won them running away from teams in both games shows you that there's still a bit more to come here, because it's taken us a while to get our game going, and I'll talk more on that a little bit later. But Laura Gardiner's work around clearances, around stoppages, was just simply unreal. She's ended up with 29 disposals. She had 9 tackles as well. She had 5 clearances and spent only, 79% of the time on ground throughout the game as well. And she's usually like an 85 to 90% player. Kicked a goal, kicked it behind. Probably should have kicked the 2 goals, to be honest. But unreal when the game was on the line. And we'll talk about goal kicking later because oh boy.
I'm giggling about LGs in particular because I don't know, I can't remember if you were on as well. It was like, this is what you were training for in the off season, LG.
But no,
why are you missing that goal? No, but she was obviously so fantastic. Like, I think I said to you today, I'm pretty sure the coaches had already put their votes in at 3/4 time because she probably deserved more than 1 vote. But she basically won us the game, and well, you can make a case for Ally as well, but definitely make a case for Ally as well. But she, back to LG form, and it's going to be scary when that hip's not hurting anymore.
Yeah, groin as well, and she was jangling the knee at one point as well. I was like, okay, like we're working her into it, and we've still got, like a half fit Montana Ham who is basically just like putting in short bursts, having an energy gel, taking 10 minutes to recover, and then bursting again. It's good signs when you're 2-0 that there's sort of so much to come. Whereas when we look back at this time last year, we were probably playing our best footy, and it really dipped after sort of round 4 or 5.
Yeah, we were also 2-0, obviously, because we went 4-0. But we'd played Richmond and Gold Coast, so really not.
when you think about it at the end of the season.
third season. Yeah.
But also, like,
All right.
Essendon
So
aren't going to be that great at the end of the year, let's be honest. But
but
they got
the thing with Essendon, which I found most interesting, especially on the rewatch, was the things that we were bad at, they were doing well. So if we could combine our forces, we would be an unstoppable team. They were fantastic at marking. They were getting a lot of the little things right. And they had scored some absolutely absurd goals. Like,
yeah.
so we were both like, this isn't going through. And it did, like, multiple times.
Yeah, well, Sophia
So
Alexander, like, she's an absolute jet. Like, if we could get her at the Swans in our forward line, oh boy, we'd have a great forward line. But anyway,
and
who's your
like
stock
Prowse
rising?
as well. And yeah. All right, my stock rising is the defense twins, which is Brenda Tarrant and Ash Van Loon. I'm calling them the defense twins because we really couldn't tell them apart all day. The only thing we were going off was Brenna's taped knee, but even then,
Yeah.
I don't think this really came through very heavily on TV, and I think this is
It did
something
not.
that you really had to have the eye test for at the ground, because even when you look at the stats, it doesn't really reflect how good of a game these two had. Their shutdown role and their marking up on players was just fantastic to see. They did it all day. I really was very, very impressed, and I'm, obviously came into this season going, I'm really worried about our defense. The people are going to have to stand up that haven't stood up in the last couple of years and really show what they're made of. And I was very, very, very happy with BT and Ash's game. It was, very, couldn't be happier. And I think now that you know where I sit, AD, you can understand why usually I have a bit of a inflated opinion on forwards and defense, because obviously I see them most often being at one end of the field.
Yeah.
And so I think we saw BT and Ash probably more than most people would have throughout the day, and you could just see the way they set up behind the ball was just really, really impressive.
Well, when you're defending Bonnie Toogood, who at the end of the day is a gun. She may be on the downturn at this stage of her career, but she's a gun. She's getting her possessions on the wing 80 meters out from goal. Cool. Like, that's great. That's what you want. You don't want her getting the football near the goal. So, yeah, I thought they did it was a really good team job. Like, I know Maggie McLaughlin didn't do much, but Sophia Alexander, like a couple of goals that they kicked, the defenders really couldn't do much because it was just like training drill transition, chip, 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 no pressure on the ball. And then, they've got to mark 30 meters out. Like their first goal, it was ridiculous how easy it was. And I think one that they kicked in, it must have been, it was in the third quarter. I think it was one of Alexander's last goals. It just like she had 40 yards on her own and poor Lara just looked across and went, oh, okay, I've got to try and get there. And had no chance of getting there. So, yeah, as a team, we've done well. Like, the thing is, I think once again, we've really constricted the team. They've kicked one goal in the last quarter. So in a couple of weeks, we've allowed 3 goals, 3 in the second half this week, and I think last week was only like 2 goals. I'll need to get those stats up.
Yeah, I might have even been 1 last week. Yeah. It was very minimal.
So we're doing well there, and that's sort of my second stock rising sort of steps away from football a little bit. And if you can sort of figure out when I say that, it's the captain, Lucy McAvoy. She's I thought I was going to give it to Maddie Quinn. I'll be honest, because this is just going to be like, this is like my Ella Roberts thing. I'm going to talk about Maddie Quinn every week. But Lucy McAvoy, the way that she handled herself throughout the week with the interviews, leading the team out, and then the game that she played, she was marshalling that sort of Dane Rampy quarterback-esque role, the Millsy role, which is the captain role. And if only she could have kicked that left foot snap just to break her goal curse, it would have just topped everything off.
I probably would have fallen out of the stadium if that had happened. So it's probably good that it didn't.
Yeah, like I would have nearly jumped onto the ground if Montana Ham kicked that goal and she took a couple of running bounces. But Lucy McAvoy, the way that she handled herself throughout the week with the interviews, post-game, then being around Pridham and Pav in the post-game of the men's game too. You look at captains and you think about players throughout the league, and this is men's and women's. Like Nick Larkey, for example, is probably someone I would not want to go to war with because he just does not instill me with confidence. And you see him talk and he does his funny little, chats and whatever else. Like Patrick Dangerfield does the same thing again. And then Danger gets on the field and you're like, oh man, I want to run with this dude. Lucy McAvoy, crashing packs, thumping in, taking marks, tackles, clearances, absolutely everything that you could want out of a captain. And then how she sort of spoke after the game as well and has through the week. You want to go to war for Lucy McAvoy. Like, she is like the perfect replacement for Chloe as one of the captains. And to be the singular captain as well, this week proved exactly why she's the captain of the Sydney Swans football team.
Yeah, without a doubt. Obviously, we've always had a lot of respect for Luce. Like, and how can you not? Because we've obviously had a lot more FaceTime with her than the average Swans fan gets. And that's, you know, just a part of what we do. And we're very lucky in that. That's obviously a massive privilege that we have. And she is just such a leader in everything she does. Like, it's just so evident. And I had her as a stocks rising last week because I you know, even called out that we don't talk about her enough because she just gets the job done. And to get the job done under those conditions is just a huge testament. And I think I said it last week. We very easily could be throwing her back multiple times, and we've really just stuck to the game plan of keeping her in the middle. And I do think that's also making a big impact. Not even like just from a purely playing perspective, if we want to talk about that as well. But yeah, the way she's led this club this week, I have never felt more blessed to have the leaders that we have. Like, it's just so clear. What else can you say? Like, she's just phenomenal. All right, my next stock's up is I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this. It's Sophia Hurley.
I'm just going to pencil that one in every week. Even if we lose, it's going to be Sophia. Yeah.
Like, there was a tweet from the AFLW account yesterday, probably, and I only saw it today, being like, how underrated is Sophia Hurley? Not to me. I've been telling you guys for 4 years, 5 years even, like, how good she is.
Yeah.
I know she had a year off because she was injured last year, but yeah, I know.
Well, Kate Mack on the AFL Daily Show that she does when she does the wrap up of the round of W with Joel Peterson, she gives out like a 5 through 1 of MVP of the week, and Sophia Hurley got 1 or 2 votes for her game. So like, that shows you Kate Mack, ball knower, gave her votes as well. So yeah, can't help but agree.
But like, if we want to go break her game down further, I think she got tackled once. She could not. She
did not get tackled.
No, I know it because when I rewatched it, she got pinned. So then I know she got tackled once. But all day she was just evading tackles, moving the ball smoothly. She's doing things that no one else can do, and I think that's why she always has stuck out to me. You can't compare her game to anyone because she just does stuff differently and sleek. She's so sleek, and that goal she kicked, that was my nearly run on the field moment.
I mean, that was all Minnie Cooper. That was for her smother and closing effort there, which I think is another thing that with Holly as well, we can talk up her game as well. Her defensive prowess and sort of that little innate, like, Cyril-esque can create something out of nothing. She's got that in her wheelhouse, but she's also getting up the ground and getting a lot of the footy. But yeah, to kick the check side, when you're in front on the angle you're in, but also when you're evading a couple of tackles is really good. She has that. It's not like how Chloe just, glides through traffic. She's evading them, but she's in full control. Like, let's be honest, it's probably, due to her, her family descent as well. Like, obviously got that Colombian background as well, where there's a bit of football involved as well. And that, how they move as well when they play football, and they're just so silky and skillful. And she's clearly got that. And like, she's so important to this team.
Yeah, you bring up Chloe, and I think with Chloe, it's a little bit of like, other players are scared to tackle her because they know they won't be able to take her down. But with Soph, it's like they're not scared to tackle her, but Soph is just too fast and too sleek for them to be able to. Like, they'll try and take her on, but no one's been able to yet, except that one, and that wasn't even really her fault. That one that she did get pinged for. I mean, it's well known at this point how much I love Sophia Hurley, but I do think she deserved very much to get her stocks up this week. And I look, who's to say, but I'll try not to do it next week as well.
Yeah. All right. We've we were positive on everything last week, but I feel like we're allowed to after it's round 2. We've beaten Essendon. We're going to do some serious stock fallings here, and again, remember, this isn't us saying this footballer is bad. This is us saying we hold them to a level, and they played below the level that we expect from them. So this is like if Nick Dacos next week in a final gets 15 touches, he will be a stock falling. So there's your outline.
Yes.
Take it away, Paul. I'll go second because mine. I feel like yours is big height wise, but mine's like I feel bigger.
Yeah, we might get some comments from yours. I am going with Taylor Smith.
It's fair.
I know she kicked two goals. Two. She kicked 2 goals. But and look, don't get me wrong. I did think she still had played a very good game. This is why it's like not of their entire game. Tay, we need to work on the marking. It was worse watching it back today. I think she dropped 7 marks.
Oh, I know there was 3.
I don't know if it was that many, but that's how much it felt like. And I want her to be the target. She should be the target on the forward line. And she was really good at marking last week. Because I know in the preview, the season preview, I said she was a stocks falling because she wasn't marking as well as I want her to. Improved it last week. She's dropped back down again. I'm like, just got to get those. If you should be taking chest marks at the very minimum.
Chest mark 10 meters out killed me. But
yeah,
that's one of those things. She's probably also in that instance. I think when she's going for it, because she had all these players around her, she's probably expecting some contact for Prowse as she's going to take the chest mark. And let's be honest, she's playing on Zoe Prowse, who's one of the best young defenders in the competition as well. So you're in for a tough day.
Yes.
But when she's kicked her goal from 7 centimeters out and the other one was a free kick at the top of the square, she could have kicked 5 had things gone her way. And we're talking about stocks rising, Tay Smith for 5 goals. But this is she is one of the preeminent forwards in the competition. And she still kicked 2. She kicked 5 in 2 weeks. If she averages 2 goals a game, we're dead set laughing. But it's one of those days it was so close. And that leads directly into mine. And we avoided it last week. Well, not we, but it's a 2-week thing. And the funny thing is, still being one of the better players on the ground. But my good close personal friend, Chloe Malloy, your stocks are falling this week. You've kicked, I think, 2 goals.
You can hear it in Alex's voice how much he doesn't want to do this.
You've kicked 2 goals, 7, Chloe. You're killing me. You're dead set killing me. And as I said last week, no one is more annoyed and no one knows more than Chloe Malloy. She's kicked 2 goals, 7. And 2 of them, I'll be honest, 2 of them for Chloe Malloy were sitters. Obviously kicked that amazing run-through goal, hit the post. The set shot in the 3rd quarter was just brutal because I think she was half celebrating as she kicked it, but it swung late. The funny thing is, as I said, she'll come out against St Kilda this week and probably kick 5 straight, and then she'll be just like, hey, dumbass, this is what you get. But when, again, best pure footballer in the competition, Chloe Malloy, kicks 1 goal 3 after kicking 1 4 last week. That's why. So this is the... Oh, God, that hurt. I can't believe it had to do that in round 2. It feels like shooting Bambi.
And look, the thing is as well, she is still coming off an injury. There is explainable reasons for this, but it does need to be said, and we can't just sweep it under the rug because it's Chloe Malloy. It's no, we expect the best from her. We expect her to be at a certain level, and she hasn't been. And so you do have to sort of go, okay, let's get the kicking boots out, which is across the club narrative.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. It's, if she'd kick 3 goals, you're laughing. It's just, you expect these players, you expect so much more on, because I can't look at a game and this is just me going through the things. I can't look at Lara Houseger having 9 disposals and say stock volume, because I actually thought Lara had a good game. When you're holding a player to a certain level, that's when, if they're just below, then you're like, yeah, okay. But when it's, so not so far below, but you expect so much more out of them, that's when you can do it. And the thing is, she's like one of the, there was a thing on, if you go watch the KO replay at halftime, they throw to a, and I felt bad doing this because I watched this and it actually made me tear up a little bit. And it's been an emotional week. I'm getting married on Friday. This week's completely fucked.
Yes.
Sorry for the French faithful. She said like the biggest thing for her to get over was letting people down, be it when she was injured or when she doesn't deliver on. And so like she's probably like,
she knows is the thing.
Yeah.
Like she knows.
And that's, but that's also the kind of person you want at your football club, because that's what drives standards, and that's what, drives belief and makes people around you go to that next level. And we're seeing that with other players. So, behind the scenes, probably the biggest stock rising of all time. But, for the on field, for kicking 2 goals, 7 in 2 weeks, and then the next month it'll be, 7 goals too. And we're like, how good?
Yeah. And I think as well, we were saying it constantly throughout the game. We need to move her into the middle earlier. We need to get her involved. That was the other thing. And I don't know if that was her directive or It wasn't until she kicked that goal that that she went to the middle. And so, I think she has the license to do whatever she wants, but I think putting her hand up and be like, hey, I need some time in the middle just to get my hands on the ball or get this heavy tag or whatever she was getting off her, just to like reset a little bit earlier, I think would have really helped her out as well. But let's move away from that. We don't need to think about it anymore, and we'll be back rising, I'm sure, next week. But we have 2 sort of fun ones just to end it. So, Alex, what was your wild card stocks rising this week?
Me, because I was so close to being Nostradamus at one point. I think in the first quarter we had so I've got to set the scene. In the first quarter, there is when you're watching the game, in the right forward pocket, there was just a stoppage, and I was like, tap down, Montana breaking through, just runs through, because you could see Cynthia setting up for a block, and it was dead set, tap down, Montana just burst through, kicked a point. I was just like, I was so like, because you could see the setup with how Cynthia was setting up the blocks, and Chloe and Holly were around there, and it just works perfectly, except for the shot. And that was, I think our 5th behind at that point. I was just like, oh, that would have been like, the crowd was ready to explode for a goal as well.
Yes.
So that's so me, but probably the wild card. I'll give this one to, actually, I'll go Julie. Julie kicking the goal. She
that was really special.
Had a mad snap that was touched off the line, and then she just stole one with about a minute to go, which was great. So the wild card is Julie O'Sullivan kicking a goal. I think it's her 2nd ever goal, but obviously first one since she did her knee.
Yeah, I really like that one. I'm going with my wild card is all the goal celebrations. They were so fun this week, and I don't think we really noticed because we were at the ground. But when I was looking through the photos from the game, there was so many fun ones. So Maddie Quinn's first goal, she had a little like something she did with Zippy, and I know that they're really good friends, so I'm sure that was something special between them, 2 of them.
I've got that in my notes. Like, she ran 100 meters and like almost did when you run and jump into someone when you haven't seen them for so long. Yeah,
and like so fun seeing them next to each other because that height difference is crazy.
Yeah.
And then one of Tay's goals, her and Minnie Cooper did a like basketball swish. So like Tay did the swish, and then Holly had her arms out like a hoop. That was really fun. And then the main one, when Chloe kicked her goal, she did a big W for all women, and I just thought that was really special. So I wanted to give that as a shout out because I just thought that was very, very fun. And I really like a really good summation of the day is just how fun this game in particular was.
Anytime you beat Essendon, it's fun.
Yeah. Do we quickly want to play? We got one speak pipe through, and which I'll quickly play, which is from Nick for the W, which I think Nick has specifically written that, so I knew to play it on this show.
Good stuff,
and
Nick.
His email is lidsoff@schwannies.com.au. So let's hear what Nick has to say.
It's gone full Deebs already.
G'day team, Nick from Canberra here, bringing in the girls. Were awesome. The pressure around the ground, the skills, the passion, everything was 10 out of 10. Can't wait to catch the rest of the season. Up the bloods, up the potty.
How good. Simple, effective. I liked it. And
effective.
And quickly, just before we go to break, our pressure around the ground all afternoon was absolutely brilliant. And the one thing I wanted to mention from my notes, which when I was watching at the ground, the amount of times I called Sarah Grundon Montana is probably a good thing for Sarah Grundon. Like, it's in a positive way.
Yes.
the way she was attacking the football. Like, go Mon. I'm like, oh shit, that's Sarah Grundon. I also blame blonde hair. I'm about 300 meters away from where Pol sits, and they both look exactly the same from a long way away and have double-digit numbers.
Yeah, you know how I think I said this last week. I thought she was Chloe a lot of the game last week. That was you and Sarah Grundon and Montana Ham this week. And I think again, that's the biggest compliment you can give a player is if you think that they're Montana Ham. That's
my new
high
key
praise.
ring, Montana Ham.
And Sarah Grundon probably also deserved a socks up. It was between her and the defensive twins for me because she was also. I mean, everyone was good. No one had a bad game. Like we're doing the right things and all the tough things right. And I really am enjoying this second half, being a second half team, because I don't want us running out of gas. So this is just us building into a game really, really nicely. But I think we'll leave the review here. We've pretty much covered everything off. Yep. And we will be back to preview the game against Europe.
This is True Bloods, and we are back to preview a game that I'm going to have to probably watch twice because it's on Saturday at 4 something. It's at Coffs Harder, 4:35, 4 something. I get married on Friday. I'm at my wedding recovery on Saturday, so I'm probably not going to see this one live. Yeah, I don't like Coffs.
Hey.
I hope this is the last year of the Coffs deal, because this is actually something I'm going to say. What is this? The worst way to capitalize on having 16,672 or whatever it was, 16,500. What a way to capitalize on it. Home game next week at Henson. Nah, we're going to Coffs. Like, come on.
I do not say this lightly. It is my least favorite thing in the W is that we have to play at Coffs Harder. No, I hate Coffs more. Windy Hill has never scorned me personally. Coffs Harder has scorned me many times.
Worst hot chips in the AFLW, Windy Hill. I gotta watch Collingwood there. Like, it's
about this. I'm not happy about this. I agree. I hope this is the last time we ever have to play there. You know what? Like, I love doing the regional stuff. I get it. There's definitely value in it, but this is just not good. It's not good. Anyway, but there are good things that are hopefully, at least it's at the start of this. It's not during tropical season yet.
Yeah.
We have that. I guess working in our favor, but it's already basically tropical season up here, so maybe it will rain. Who's to say?
We are playing Europe, who are not good.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess we'll start there. It is Indigenous round. Yay!
Oh wait, do we have
and that's another
new kit?
No, we're wearing this one. Which yeah.
We wear the same one through the club, similar to what Carlton do, the one club ethos, which is great.
I love it.
Yeah, we've got the Nike sponsorship. That's right.
Yes. So we've got it's Indigenous round, which is really exciting. Another bummer that it's not really at home, that we don't get to actually celebrate it properly.
Or at
obviously it is what it is. Yeah. So it's but it's I mean, firstly, I want to say big shout out, but thank you to the entire Australian Indigenous community and everything you bring to the sport. It is so special that your talents get shared with us, and we really appreciate it. And so we love celebrating you during an Indigenous round, and this is obviously the opportunity we get to do it. And it's a very special weekend, 2 weekends that doesn't go unappreciated by us, and we appreciate you every week, but this is the particular week we get to do it, and that's very, very special.
And Dreamtime's in Darwin on Sunday. That's going to be great. They've actually
I love Dreamtime.
Yeah. So they've spread the games out really well. I know you've got to compress them all with wildcard and stuff, but there's a half decent spread on Saturday. They're all spread out, so you can watch every game on Saturday if you want to really settle in for a good day. And then on Sunday, you can sort of pick and choose your one. You've got Nam taking on the Lions down at Casey. That's going to be a good game. You've got While You're Up, which is Freo and Carlton. And then you've got Dreamtime. This is great. How good's footy?
Yeah.
This is sick.
Footy's great. If
you can tell, I'm trying to avoid specifically talking about Euro because, oh boy.
Okay, let's look. You know what's a good place to
Oh.
start? Last time we played them. So we didn't play them last year. We played them in 2024, round 2. And if anyone remembers what the game that was, Chloe did her ACL before the game.
No. Yeah, she did it on Thursday. And
Yeah.
then I'm in the media center and I'm getting like Chloe's done her ACL and I'd flown up and back from Sydney for the GWS final the day before. It's like my head was on Mars and I was very tired. I'd recorded a show for work that day and then drove to Moorabbin. And like Chloe's done her ACL and people are running around. I'm like, I'm too tired for this. And then it started raining in the media center, like literally raining in the media center because it rained sideways. We should have, and I still contend we should have won that game. I'm still annoyed about it.
It was a dire game. It was one of the worst up until that point. It's definitely changed since then, but at the time, it was one of the worst feelings I had watching a Swans game. I just genuinely wanted to turn it off at one point, which is rare. So let's hope it's not like that again. Knock on all the wood, but thank God it's not at RSEA, because I think as much as I don't want it to be at Coffs, RSEA also sucks. So
yeah, but they've got a Ferris wheel. They've got a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, but it's barely ever open because it's so windy.
I know, but that's what I love about the Ferris wheel.
So
I don't have to drive to Moorabbin, which is like halfway to Cranbourne, and someone said to me, "So stop giving shit to Cranbourne." No.
Yeah, well, someone who lives there.
Yeah. So let's talk about how the Sainers went on the weekend, because a team that had 100 points put on the week before put 100 points on St Kilda on Saturday afternoon at Goomba.
Yeah, so I really, really, really tried to watch this game because I was like, I'm going to come in with so much knowledge and so much information about the Saints, and I could not watch this game. It was so bad. I watched a half of it and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was so bad that I questioned myself as a footy analyst, because I could not help but just watch Geelong the whole time. That's how bad the Saints were. There was no one to watch because they weren't doing anything. It was so bad.
I mean, like, they've got a couple of really cool players to watch, like, that I enjoy watching play footy because they're fun. Like, Georgia Patrikios looks like she's fit and back to her best. She's had, like, 3 years running where she's been injured. And obviously, Tiana Smith is an absolute gun. So, like, there's sort of your keys to victory straight away is if you can shut down T. Smith or Patrikios, you're probably halfway to winning the game. But then again, I'd still sort of back us around the ground because you sort of go through, and this is what I like to do in W as well. And you sort of you line up player on player, and you sort of go tick cross as to sort of who that you're gonna play on it. And this is probably a good thing that I can do now if my computer can work and I can get both teams up from last week. Because the only thing that I worry about is our lack of height in our defense, because they are kind of tall compared to us. So get round 2 up here. Hold on, here we go. Let's do this. So this is great analysis, Faithful. I've really, really studied.
Okay, as Alex is doing that, there is a chance that TK is back this week.
Yep.
So if she is, that's immediately taking Smith out of the game, and so their momentum to move the ball is very, very slim. And so that's basically your keys to the game right there. You take her out of the game, and then there's not much going on for them.
All right. Brenna Tarrant against Jessie Tawaiho Wardlaw.
Jessie looked so sore on the weekend. I give it to BT.
Yeah. Amber Clark versus Ash Van Loon.
I don't even know who Amber Clark is, but I love Ash, so I'm going to give it to Ash.
Hannah Priest versus Zippy Fish.
I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Lexi versus Sophie Butterworth. I'm probably 50-50 on that one.
Yeah. It depends what Lexi shows up.
Yeah. The Lexi that was flattening humans yesterday was tremendous, by the way. Yes. The human body craves physical contact, and a Hamilton loves hammering someone. Darcy Maloney versus Ash Richards. I'll be honest, I don't know much about Ash Richards.
No, but I'd give it to Darcy.
Julia Sullivan versus Charlotte Bascaran. Bascaran, a good footballer, got the flick by Hawthorn. She's pretty talented.
Yeah, I think you probably give it to Bascaran just because Joss is still coming off that injury. Yeah. On
the other wing, Nick Barr versus Sarah Grundon. You give that one to Nick Barr.
Yes.
Yeah. In the middle, Georgia Patricios up against Lucy McAvoy. Oh, that's a fun matchup if that happens. I'm probably leaning towards Patricios. I think she could be a bit more damaging than Luce. I also don't
Yes,
think they'll
Luce is
match up
just
on each other.
class, though.
Yeah.
They probably won't, but Luce is just class.
Holly Cooper on Serene Watson. Well, Serene Watson is probably winning there, but this is just how they lined up last week.
Yes.
Chloe Malloy, Alana G. Chloe Malloy wins that.
Malloy.
Cynthia versus Alice Burke. Probably Cynthia.
I don't know. Chi had a bit of a quiet week, so it depends on which
Yeah.
Chi we're going to get this week,
Yeah.
but I would probably give Chi the edge.
Yeah. Taylor Smith versus Paige Trudgeon. I'm going Taylor Smith. And Maddie Quinn versus Ella Friend. I'm probably leaning to Ella Friend, but if Maddie Quinn gets in a one-on-one contest, she'll handle the footy.
Yep.
Then you go to the rucks. Ali versus Renee. Well, Ali's going to absolutely tower Renee Karras.
Yep.
Jamie Lambert versus Montana.
I hope Mon's a little bit fitter, but I would give it to Mon probably.
That's a flip
Ham
of
on
the coin.
lamb is fun.
Oh yeah. And Soph versus Tiana Smith. That's fun as well.
I mean, I was gonna say I can't be impartial on that one.
I'm giving those two midfield ones as flip of the coins because I think both Lambert, Smith, like their three midfielders are their best players. Lambert, Smith, and Patricios. Obviously, Nick Barr on a wing's very good as well. And this is also like we started Laura Gardiner at like centre half forward yesterday as well, so we haven't even mentioned her. So like I think across the field, you look at that. That's what 16. That's probably 10 to the Swans that you've got straight away.
Yes.
So when you do it that way, and that's very base level analysis, but when you think about it, how that's going to be on a big field like Coffs Harder, because it is a bigger field, and some of their forwards look as sore as a boil, and you think about how we can rebound and run and cover the ground. If it's a dry deck, given we've seen what's happened to St Kilda on dry decks twice, we should be able to run away with this. And this isn't saying we should smash them. I'd be disappointed if we don't win this game.
That's the thing. Yes, agreed. It's definitely going to be very disappointing if we don't win. I think as well, you look at, we've had one game on where did we play in the first round? Oh yeah, on a smaller deck. And then we played one game on a bigger deck. They've played 2 games now on a bigger deck. So Marble
played in stadiums both games.
Yeah. So yes, they are coming in with the fitness experience of having to play on a full round, but they also didn't do it very well. And I don't think that they have gone to a point where they're going to do it well. So it just doesn't look like they have their tank is the main thing.
Yeah.
And
they
so
had 2 weeks off after that first game as well.
Yeah, and they looked buggered. They really just did not have the fitness. And before we jump into the tipping, and the wrap up of this section, I just want to say a quick, Nick Del Santo sucks.
Did not expect that.
You can't have a part-time coach. I'm sorry. Your full-time head coach cannot be part-time. This is their biggest issue. They don't have someone dedicated to their team.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say.
I think there's going to be a couple of... If they get smashed again, I think this is when the pressure will really start to turn on St Kilda, because we're not at a level yet where you can call for coach sackings like halfway through the year yet in AFLW. But I do think if St Kilda get flogged again and they're last without a win and their percentage is like 25, you're probably going to start to hear a couple of questions about Euro Roke and Nick Dalsano and make a choice. Like
it breathes they not taking their women's program seriously. And I don't think you can really say that about too many of the clubs anymore. There's definitely a few out there, don't get me wrong, but this is, to me, the most glaring admission to they don't care about their women's program. And so that's another reason I'd be very disappointed if we lose to them, because we take our program so seriously and they don't. And it's a big indictment if you lose to a club like that.
Yeah. Okay, so
20 is by how far?
Well, what I said last week, I said 32. The line is 23.5. So let's go with 32 again.
I like it. I'm going to go with 27.
Who are you inviting to the party?
That is a great question. And you think I would think about before we record, but I never do. And the one I said last week got injured in the middle of the week. So that was a really good pick from me. let's invite. I'm going to invite Chi. She had a quiet game this week. She was trying her hardest, don't get me wrong, but she just wasn't at regular Chi levels. And I would love, I want a Chi goal celebration so bad. Chi goal celebration so bad. That's my invite to the party.
And also, we didn't talk about it in the stock falling with Taylor Smith. Holy crap, the ball did not bounce her way at all one time yesterday.
Oh, God,
anytime it bounced in front of her, the football decided to go the other way and was just like, nah, mate, I'm not helping you out today. It was truly the Amy
Klunger ad.
Yeah. So that's, So hopefully we can help that out for her. My invite, my good close personal friend, give me a wedding gift that I can really enjoy. Kick 6. Enjoy it. Kick 6 straight. So you see,
hey, more, what would be nice? More than one goal, just from the whole team.
More
compared to last time we played there.
Yeah. So
okay. The last time we played, we kicked 1 goal.
Oh yeah, and Zippy kicked that mad snap on the left. That was awesome. It's probably the only awesome thing about that game. Anyway, let's get into the tipping. We both got 7 last week because we tipped the same, and I need to go back and watch this Hawthorn game because I don't know what Hawthorn did after halftime, but holy crap.
Yeah, anyway. I was not expecting that at all. So I didn't think they were going to be serious this year, and I've been proven wrong.
They're 1-1. Anyway, Saturday, 12:35, UTAS, North Melbourne will beat the Western Bulldogs, who are 2-0.
By a lot. I'm putting 80-point margin in there right now.
I got 40. Kawana, Adelaide Crows take on Wallatij Marara, which is the West Coast Eagles at Unley. Oh, both teams need a win. Surely Adelaide.
Yeah, they're not losing there twice, surely.
And West Coast look terrible. Port Adelaide versus the Giants. The Giants came to, Yartapulti, GWS Yartapulti at Manuka on Sunday. Obviously, we're both tipping the Swans. I'm tipping the Power.
I think they have a comeback. And the Giants, that was a fluke win against West Coast.
Yesterday.
It's looking like, I mean, the D's are very good. But it does seem like it was a fluke win against West Coast.
Nam take on the Brisbane Lions down at Casey Fields on Sunday, 1:05. I think I've skipped the game here, so I'll get back to it. Yeah, D's will win that. The Gold Coast Suns take on Geelong at People First. Now, this is all of a sudden very interesting after all the kids went ham. They went full Montana on Saturday over in Perth. I still think Geelong.
Yeah, I leaned towards Geelong when didn't get to watch them play West Coast because I think I don't know, I can't remember what was happening. But watching them play the Dogs a couple weeks ago, and then I watched Geelong this week. Geelong are just a generally better team, just from like the eye test. So I'm also going Geelong.
Yep. Collingwood and Hawthorn. That'll be Hawthorn. Walyalup and Carlton is an interesting game over at Coburn.
I'm sneaky going to go Freo. It's probably that's my wild card for the round. I think I'm sneaky going to go Freo, but it's probably going to be Carlton.
Yeah, I'm going to tip Carlton. And to finish up, we have Dreamtime up in Darwin, and this is my favorite thing. The Dreamtime's an annual thing up in Darwin. The Bomb Rays take on Richmond.
I'm going to go the Bombers.
I'm going the Bombers too. Oh, I thought you were going to go Richmond. I was like, the Bombers. Certainties. Absolute certainties, Essendon. There you are.
Yeah.
There. If you want my banker of the week, Essendon.
And that's the only game that's like somewhat split on the Footy Tips app at the moment.
Yeah. Somehow, like Brisbane are like, I'm not going to talk sports gambling here, but Brisbane and Melbourne very close in the market for all those who like to invest. Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Don't pick Brisbane.
I mean, you can if you want to.
These are a very good team.
Mm.
But that pretty much wraps us up. It has been a very, very up roller coaster week since we last recorded. I hope that you've had a bit of catharsis and hearing about the girls has even got you to a better place than you were potentially at the start of your day. As I said, it is Indigenous round, so big shout out to all Indigenous Australians, especially Indigenous Australians that played the game and bring their skills and talent to the league. We cannot appreciate it enough, especially to our girl, Zippy Fish. I hope you have a fantastic Indigenous game, and I cannot wait to see the photo that gets taken by Phil Hayward Hayard, I can't remember his name, in the middle of the week. But this has been True Bloods. Alex, is there anything you want to close us out with?
Nah, I'm good. We're 2-0. Let's
All
go
right.
3-0. I'm
We're
good.
2-0.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm leaning into the positives this week. It's been a bad week.
that's the best way to go about it. This has been True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We're #1 in the hearts. We're #1 in the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom. Up the potty.
Bloody.